Hello everyone, welcome to the War Zone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. And in this video, it's gonna be a two-parter. We're gonna take a look at two different scenarios. The first one is Russia's plan on what they're trying to achieve in Kursk at the moment, how they are trying to achieve a large victory over Ukraine. And I believe it is a highly likely plan, and I think it is what we will see come into play or a variation of it. And the second part of this video will be completely bogus. Should not be taken seriously at all. It is my own hypothetical armchair general BS plan on how Ukraine potentially might actually counter the Russians. Sort of based on logic, if you ask me, but since I have no idea on how many troops or how many artillery pieces, how much ammunition, how much fuel, everything like that that is available to Ukraine in Kursk, I really don't know what they may or may not do. But uh, it's a fair estimation of what they might maybe pull off in the short term, and then what that might mean if they keep up momentum. So the first part in that section is not unlikely, but of course, as I then go on, it will be become increasingly unlikely because the Russians will try and prevent them from going as far as I'm pointing out. So yeah, I'm rambling. Let's go into the to, to the more likely situation, what Russia is actually up to. Right. Uh, I'm gonna do something I haven't done in a while, I think. Do a armchair general video. Uh, yeah, let's do that. Okay, so just to highlight a bit what I think is actually going on here. We have Russia of late pushing in here. As we know, then it came down this way in grand fashion. Took a small town here, whatever the name was called, pushed into this town. Currently contesting this. There's probably big fighting going on here in that town there. And then they moved along that highway here, trying to reach Malaya Lokna and the bridges crossing the river here. That is what Russia's trying to do. And basically, it looks something like this, what the Russians are trying to achieve. They want to push out this way in order to reach the bridges, and probably, to be perfectly honest, they want to go up here because here they have a valley with terrain features that they can utilize as cover. Come in here, because if they come in around this lake here, as you can see, then they can push on up here, and by doing that, they have effectively denied Ukraine the use of this bridge, and they deny Ukraine the use of this bridge. So now Ukraine is forced to move their logistics. Hang on. Their logistics will have to be moved instead of going here, which is now not a viable option. They're going to have to come up this way and through here, which brings them dangerously close to the front line. And of course, the natural step for Russia is to go after them and follow them up along the road here towards this town and that bridge. And in so doing, of course, Russia can cut off that supply route as well. And not only that, we saw on Blackbird Group, their map, that according to them, Russia is currently making a push this way. And that potentially allows Russia, if they follow the road here, to come in here. And what do they do then? Well, they end up cutting the supplies already up here, or down here rather. So as you can see, what Russia is going for, by the looks of it, is to uh, isolate all of this here, all of these Ukrainian troops, and will force them to abandon their positions and fall back so that they don't get trapped uh, west of the river, and so they don't run out of ammunition and supplies and what have you, so they can't fight on. So that is what it appears is going on over here. I think Russia is going to strongly push out towards the river, take this small detour here into the valley where they have a forest and lots of cover, and come in here via the roads to come in between these two bridges, and then make an effort to cut the bridge up here as well. This bridge will be cut as soon as they come in here, and then move up to secure that bridge, and then continue up all the way up here to take this last and final bridge. And the push down here will be an attempt to come in behind the Ukrainians, cut the supplies up here, and then continue. Probably move down to Malaya Lokna, to be perfectly honest. Doesn't that sound reasonable and logical? If they do get this far, that they will continue down here to attack the town itself. Uh, all in all, with the overall intention to isolate this entire front line and force all the Ukrainians up here in the northwest to fall back, to retreat, to avoid being trapped and to avoid being cut off from supplies and reinforcements. I think that is the general Russian plan, to take the fight to the east and west side of this river, and in so doing force Ukraine to abandon this entire region. Right, so that's the first section of the video. What Russia is after seems to be very likely. It is what I think they are trying to achieve, and what we may probably see play out in Kursk. And but now for the Armchair General bullshit. First part of it, not unlikely. But of course, as we progress, it will be increasingly difficult for Ukraine to pull it off because, Russia is gaining support from North Korea and they can just throw troops at the Ukrainians. But the first part, marked in blue, I think it is probably not that unlikely, even though I don't think Russia will give up on their initial plans. But I think Ukraine might want to try to do something, and I think they will try to do what I start off this segment with. Right, I don't know if I'll post this, but I'm gonna record it anyway. It's the 19th now, 5 minutes after midnight on the 19th of October. We'll see if this might post this if it actually plays out. Because Ukraine obviously needs to prevent Russia from pushing into Malaya Lokna, like we have said. And basically, it comes down to Ukraine needing to secure Slenishliak and Novoivanovka. They need to reclaim these towns, and they have the potential to do it. They really do. First of all, they need to abandon these positions up here. You can't hold them considering how narrow the routes for logistics are over here. So they need to fall back from here back here. And but they can't fall back too far either. They need to hold here we go, there we go. Something like this. So they need this area in order to maintain this pocket here. This pocket, right? Because if they fall back from here, then it will look something like this. Russia gains control of this, like so. And then this pocket here is no longer, it's not a pocket, it's not isolated. Russia can bring in reinforcements, manpower can move it around all over the place back here. and then Nova Ivanivka is no longer isolated. It is no longer this uh, prong that's driving into Ukrainian territory, surrounded on all flanks. So, in order for Ukraine to have a chance of reclaiming it, they need to hold something like so, like I said, and abandon these positions up here and move back here with those troops and leave it like this to maintain this narrow push and isolate in Nova Ivanovka. That will give Ukraine the ability, if now, so they move troops out of this area here, potentially, maybe, abandoning Veseloya and pulling forces out of here, maybe, but or bringing in reinforcement from newly formed brigades or other parts of the front line. But then they have the potential. They have the potential to exploit the situation and push hard in through Leonidovo towards Novo Ivanovka and launch a mechanized assault, kind of like Russia did, through here up at Slinishliak. And maybe even come out of Klugne Koe down to the road here and followed into Novo Ivanovka. And then they have managed to isolate and capture Novo Ivanovka, and the front line will go something like so. From the outskirts of Kremanoye, they still control up here, down here, take over Novo Ivanovka and Slinishliak. But the kicker is, if you have Novo Ivanovka, you don't need to hold territory up here. I'm sure Ukraine wants to do it, but is it worth it holding on to this territory if you lost over here? Isn't it better to defend over here, this area, in that case, and hold on to this territory like so, and do something like this, holding these towns here in the center, these vital towns, holding these valleys with the forests and abandoning these narrow stretches of cover that are really difficult to defend and supply. And of course, if Ukraine if goddamn headset pulls this off, they are in a excellent position, or a good position, I should say, to push into Yubimovka, reclaim it after hard fighting, and then continue up into the woods here. And then you are positioned right smack in the middle of everything. Let's use yellow to emphasize this. Whoop, there you go. Right here, like so. And now you have options all of a sudden. You can actually, you can see the terrain here, you can swing up this way if you want to. You can maybe head for Snagost this way, but I'm thinking you would go for this forest and instead try and reach the same river over here. So yes, I think Ukraine should abandon these positions, push down here, make sure you hold here so you maintain this, they maintain this prong, this narrow stretch into Ukrainian territory, so that you can then build up forces and attack it from the south mainly, maybe with some help from the northeast, take these towns, push into Yubimovka, and try and continue up into these woods here. And here, as you can see, you have windbreaks and terrain, you have forests all around that you can utilize to push out to other forests all over the place and reclaim vital territory.
very vital territory. You can basically come out this way, which would be very significant. And if you can push through the windbreaks here, like they did before, that would not be insignificant. Uh, and I think it's doable if they have the manpower for it, that is. They need to find the manpower. It's a bit difficult for me to gauge how much troops they have, but I mean, pull back from here, they will be able to have these troops available, maybe troops from Glushkovo, maybe a brigade or two being trained, and will be ready to fight in a week, in a couple of weeks, a couple of months, who knows. But I think, yes, hold on to this area, maintain this narrow push so that you can attack it and isolate it. Don't give up this territory because then Russia will have an easy time supplying Novoivanovka. When you have Novoivanovka, push into Yubimovka, continue to these woods. And from here, if you have these woods, you then have options where to go next.
Right, so there you have it. The Russian part, I think there's a fair chance it will actually play out. The Ukrainian part, mm, you never know. Who knows? I wasn't even sure if I was gonna post this video whatsoever, as you noticed when I made it this night here at midnight between the 18th and 19th. But I figured, why not? Why not make a fool of myself on the internet? It is, after all, what the internet is for. Stupid people making stupid stuff, saying stupid things, and making a fool of themselves. So here I am. Anyway, I'm hoping, of course, that Ukraine will be able to stop the Russian shenanigans in Kursk and push Russia back and force Russia to bring in even more troops from the front lines in Ukraine to Kursk, and in so doing, ease the situation in Ukraine. Anyway, that's it. Hope I'll see you in the next one. Go på marsch, Ukraine, and give them hell.